All right. So thanks for joining us for our fall quarterly meeting of the North Iowa Local Food Coalition. I do like to go around as best as possible and see who's all on here. And I'm going to put this in the chat just for easy reference. But if you are able to share your name, your business, organization, hat, whatever you're coming to the group with as today. And as a fun question, just a simple way, like what's your favorite way to enjoy fall local apples? Because there's a million different ways to do that. So I'm going to call Mallory. Can I call on you first?
And so we've been making a lot of applesauce, and I was kind of getting sick of applesauce, so I spread some out on my table and made some apple roll-ups.
Yum. Yum. Your sound was a little funny, at least for me. I'm not sure if that was the case for everybody, but I heard that you made applesauce and spread it out into dried apple, like fruit roll-up type things, right? Yes. Cool. I don't know what's going on. That's weird. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Sue, do you mind popping back on and sharing you?
Sure. My name is Sue Marshall. I'm the founder and CEO of Net Zero. And let's see, what do I like? I like apple crisp. And this year I'm going to put some upcycled spent grain on top.
Using what you got, right? Good stuff. I love it. I love it. Jody, how about you? I can see you next.
There we go. Hi, I'm Jody Higrick, and I'm the local food coordinator out of UNI, serving the counties south of you guys. But Marie and I collaborate on a lot of projects, and farm to school is one of the areas that I'm working a lot in lately. So I just wanted to hop on and see what everybody had to share today. And my favorite way to use apples is I like cooked homemade apple top.
Yum. Good food. All right, Amanda, we see video from you. Are you able to, you're also in a car, are you able to hop on?
Sure. Amanda Eldridge from FAVA, Family Alliance for Veterans of America. We are a Housing First program for veterans, and we serve 43 counties across the north of. Oh, and my apple thing. I don't really like cooked apples, so I just like to dip them in caramel and stuff like that.
Classic, also delicious. Love it. Thank you. Debbie.
Hi, good afternoon. Debbie Aben, Mercy One, North Iowa Medical Center, and I have the community health, community benefit role here. And my favorite thing about fall is a tour of colors and getting apples from different places. So, like to taste test them.
Yes. Yum. Love the colors. They're just starting to change, right? So we're getting there. Julie, are you able?
Hi, yes, Julie Edelhoff, Clear Lake Schools. My favorite apple is when it's a hot fall day, go out and pick it off the tree and eat it while it's still warm.
That sounds so good right now. You're all making me hungry. This is a good thing and a bad thing. Brenda, how about you? You're on mute. Let me see, can we get you unmuted?
All right, here I am. All right, here I'm Brenda Hipsch. I'm with the Osage Food or School, and the girls did a cinnamon apple oatmeal baked for breakfast this morning at the school. That was delicious. So all that kind of stuff is terrific for me. Like it cooked with just about anything.
That sounds amazing. We should go to school for breakfast.
There you go. Come on over.
Shelley? There.
I'm Shelley Alquist. I work at Mercy One with Debbie in community benefit. And my favorite way to enjoy apples is traditional, the baked apples, a little bit of brown sugar, some raisins in the middle. It's right out of the oven. Has to be like piping hot. So
Sensing a lot of like warm apple people. Love it. Dennis.
Okay, and Dennis Johnson from Worth County Extension. And the thing I like doing in the fall is our family likes to take bike rides over to Lanesboro at the bike trails. That's kind of cool. Kind of think that's been fun every fall. But then the other thing for apples, nothing that's real fresh, but just had apple rings the last couple of days. You get that grocery store once in a while, cinnamon. Those are pretty good too. So that's probably one of my favorite treats that not in season, but anytime.
Yes, those are delicious as well. Kelly?
Did you say Kelly or Ellie? Kelly? Okay, sorry.
Yep. You're good.
This is Kelly Gertis with Saragota Public Health, and definitely this fall, my favorite way to enjoy apples would be we go out to my in-laws and pick them off the trees, and then we go back and make applesauce. And since my little girl is food weaning right now, her first foods are going to be homemade applesauce. So looking forward to that.
That's so exciting. Yes. And Wendy. Hey there, I think we lost her for a second. But
Can you hear me?
yes.
I'm driving. I just had to pick up my daughter from school. Wendy Johnson from Joy Food Farm, and I used to come to these meetings a long time ago, and I saw this through my inbox, and I thought I need to attend these meetings more often. So I'm catching up. That's why I'm a local producer.
Yes. Welcome back anytime. Love to hear from you. All right. Did I miss anybody for quick introductions? And again, I know folks are kind of in and out, and as far as some others might join us after some 3:30 meetings they have too. So I'll try to call them out if they come. But all right. Well, thank you all for being on today. And like I said, we are going to start with talking about Farm to School and just hearing some updates from folks either that are on, or I did receive some updates from, again, some school personnel that weren't able to join today that I will share. But want to just hear what's going on in the schools as far as using local and the, you know, what's going on, but also some of the challenges that exist, because we know there's been plenty of those lately as well. So I always want to be real. Julie, would you mind going first?
I would love to go first. So you got pictures for me?
I do. I'll pull them right up. 1 second.
Okay. So I'm at Clear Lake, but last year I was at Newman, and we started with Farm to School, and we were very lucky to get the IDLS grant. We ended up with some new equipment, and as you can see by the picture on the screen, some absolutely beautiful vegetables. I was so excited to be able to do this. We actually had KIOT come in and talk to us about it. I also, in Farm to School range of things, have partnered with Bushel Boy, and I hope you all know that Bushel Boy is that beautiful tomato plant out, what is it, southeast of town? Am I right with my directions?
Leave that southeast, yes.
Okay, so they're great people to work with. I have continued to work with them. We get those slicing tomatoes, and this year we've also started getting the cherry tomatoes. The other thing we've done this year, and again, I'm new here and still getting my feet on the ground with Clear Lake, so I haven't done a lot with farm to school. But we did watermelon one day as a surprise for the elementary. And then the salads on the right we do salads, and surprisingly enough, it's the elementary kids that are ordering more salads than the middle school. But I'm hoping to do more farm to school with those salads. We do a lot of vegetables. We don't have a salad bar per se in the high school, but we always have lettuce, spinach, tomatoes, carrots out at the high school, and then whatever else we have available, we put out there too. So again, I'm looking forward to getting my feet firmly on the ground here at Clear Lake and doing a lot more farm to school. So that's that's what I have. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I know there's, you know, coming from two different districts, like Newman, I'm sure there's a huge learning curve as far as just going from Newman private, different size from Clear Lake, all the different buildings and all of the things. And you mentioned your salad bar. You don't have one at the high school. In the past, have you had salad bars at Clear Lake and they're just not out right now because of COVID? Or is that kind of the policy that's been that you've always kind of prepackaged, you know?
I don't think, well, and the salads, the prepackaged ones are at Clear Creek. What we do at the high school is we have it out on the line. It's just not set up like a salad bar. It is self-serve, and we have enough items that they can make a salad, but it's not a separate salad bar. It's right on the line with the other items.
Gotcha. I figured I'd ask. I know there's been various districts that have shared that salad bars are typically a great place to do some local sourcing because of the lesser quantities. And we've been hearing from several districts that they just don't have them right now. So I'm glad to see those salads. This is great. Awesome. Can I put you on the spot to maybe share, if you could, what would be a number one challenge if you could identify one that you've kind of experienced with farm to school programming? Should have warned you.
No, it's fine. Really, it's the farm to school takes a little more prep, especially I guess when I think of the carrots. When we were doing them last year, I tried scrubbing them and they just didn't look as nice. So we ended up peeling a lot of carrots. Then when I come over here where we're doing almost 3 times as many meals, the thought of peeling carrots for that many kids, we don't have staff. I have been doing the full head cauliflower because when you buy the cauliflower in already cut and prepackaged, it smells bad. So again, really the biggest challenge is just the prep and having enough staff.
Yeah, that prep time is huge. That's fair. We have definitely heard that challenge before, and like that's an identified one that we'd love to work to figure out in the area for sure. But
and I
thank you for sharing.
The equipment that we got through the IDALS grant over there, that helped tremendously. That made a big difference on prep.
I have a silly question that everybody else probably knows the answer to. Can you explain farmer school a little bit? Because I don't really know what you're talking about.
What a great idea. That should have been the beginning of this conversation. Absolutely. So farm to school programming is not a unique concept in North Iowa for sure. It's a national or probably even beyond effort. It is kind of, they talk about it in 3 components. They talk about local procurement into the cafeteria, which is what we'll hear about a lot today. So that's, buying from local farmers and serving it on the line, salad bars, breakfasts, after school programmings, whatever that looks like. So that's the local procurement side of things. There's also school gardens. So, definitely some of that hands-on learning of the gardens or greenhouses at schools. And then the other one is nutrition education. So that's more specifically in the classroom, some of that curriculum incorporating, farmer visits or farm field trips, or even just incorporating agriculture and food into the classroom, whether it be math or writing or reading or any of those topics. So farm to school is kind of that overarching term that's used for any of these type of efforts to really get our kids to get excited about where their food comes from, have understanding about it, and again, have that local connection to where their food comes from. So it looks a little different in every district depending on who's there, what efforts they have, of course, what time and money and resources they have available to them. But yeah, so that, anyone else feel free to jump in and add anything that I might have missed, but that's a nutshell of what farm to school is. Yes. I will also mention, so we've had different efforts in North Iowa. We've had some different grants to do some collaborative efforts of even just learning from one another what we're up to, getting some different equipment, doing some local taste tests, doing some actual procurement, things like that. So Julie was talking about some great statewide grants that happened last year through some of the COVID relief dollars through the local protein and produce program. That really left a boost to our schools last year. Unfortunately, it is not funded this year, but yeah, so it's always a little bit different, if I could be honest in that way too. And I'm sure our school representatives could share the fun ride that is farm to school programming sometimes too. Thanks for the question, Amanda. Great. All right, so let me take off the great photos. Thanks for sending those, Julie, too, by the way. Next up, Brenda, do you want to share from Osage what you guys got going on?
Well, I sure wish I would have sent pictures in. We have a lot of pictures on our Facebook page, our Osage Hot Lunch, but of what we've been doing. Again, the grant was nice last year. That really helped us out and really got us connected with a lot of people that we would not have been able to use again. So we did sweet corn twice this year that we've never done before. The FFA, we got it from Steve's Sweet Corn locally. They delivered it, and the FFA shucked it for us and washed it and cut it in half. Oh, there it is. So that was the second time we had it. So that was huge. That was a lot that they did for us. That really helped. I get potatoes from Kettleson's. I try to do baked potatoes once every other month or so. And I go to the auction to get watermelon, cantaloupe, and stuff like that. But the biggest thing for us is delivery. Everything I do, except for Steve's, I go pick up and get the school truck and put it in the back and haul it back to the school. So because we even last year with the grant, we were out all by ourselves. So I like the Bushel Boy, sounds interesting. I might have to look into that a little bit more, but yeah, we do taste tests. I want to do some sprouts, I think, this year with, we have Fearless Food on Fridays that we do different stuff like that with for the elementary. So try to get that done every week. So that's about it. I've learned a lot in the last couple of years over the Fearless Foods. Over the local foods. It's been very educational.
And I have to shout out, Brenda, you started last year, right? Was your first year with Osage?
Yep.
Last school year.
Yep. It was just my second year for food service director there. So
yeah, so navigating COVID and doing all of this is so amazing. I love seeing the photos of what you guys are up to. Can you talk a little bit about your students and how they've been involved in the process?
Oh, I think our meals before were just the same, so we really try to put out there the Facebook page and talking to the students. Some of the students would get in on the planning part of the meals, and then like the FFA husking the corn and doing all of that. We try to involve them as much as we can and really let them know where we're getting their food from. And yeah, it's really drawing some excitement from the student body, and our lunches have gone up tremendously. And yeah, it's been really good, really a lot of fun. So they like the variety.
That's so amazing. I know it is a best practice that they talk about with any farm to school stuff, is like, get the kids involved and hear their say. And like I remember from the beginning, you know, had a couple students from your student council who were involved and excited
yep,
and helping
yep.
out and like nailing it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yes. I'm gonna put your Facebook in the chat just for people to check it out. If you'd like, I think you do an awesome job. You also do a great job of like sharing your story with the community. You know, I'm an hour
Yeah.
away and I love to see those pictures when they're when you have the
Yeah,
local stuff going on.
I enjoy that, and I get a lot of feedback in the community from that too. Not so much on Facebook, but when I see them out uptown or whatever, then there's people, they notice.
Yes, it's so good, so good. I'm glad to hear that the sales of the hot lunch have gone up as well. Like that's a great testament to your
Yeah.
efforts as well. I'm going to ask you the same tough question though. If you could identify one challenge for farm to school, I mean, I guess you mentioned the transportation and having to.
It basically was just the delivery is just gets so hard to try to schedule a time that works with everybody. And I have a great group of cooks that the preparation was not a problem for us. You know, they just jump in and kind of do whatever I throw at them and have fun with it. So they're all on board with it too. So that makes it nice.
That's so great to have a good team.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you. And if there's questions, of course, I should have mentioned this. If you all have questions for Julie or Brenda, feel free to either put them in the chat or jump in and ask. Do not need to be the owner of the questions. But sorry, I got some traffic behind me. And apparently a cricket that really wants to be my friend. But I did. Jill from Cal was going to jump on, but I don't see her on here. So hopefully we'll be able to connect with her here at some point. But I did want to share a couple updates. And I'm just going to put it on the screen too. I just threw on the emails. So down in Franklin County, the extension office down there has been partnering a lot with the schools for farm to school programming, more in that like school gardens and education side of things. So they started their school gardens at the Hampton Dumont South Side and middle school in April and May. And then they had teachers sign up for their different classroom times to get the garden ready and plant the garden. And then each of the classrooms had an opportunity to plant their gardens in the spring. And then they had different folks that helped kind of over the summer to manage. And they did a lot of, I will say they did a lot of, not necessarily food. They did some like cherry tomatoes, but they had some other like pollinator type plants too. So it wasn't necessarily that harvesting had to happen at a ton. And then in the middle school, they also had students in the garden. Over the summer, they host a summer garden club at Southside in the middle school, as well as over in Cal and as well in Sheffield. So a benefit of working with Extension, right? A good program for that is that they have an AmeriCorps Vista who specifically focuses on that school garden club. So it looks like they had 45 kids enrolled in that this past summer. And they really, she said that the kids really love bringing home that fresh produce from the gardens as a part of that club, which is great. This fall, she said so far they've been working on flower arrangements for student tables at lunch on the first day of school, which was pretty. So we did that from the gardens, and that they're working on getting some help with the garden cleanup, which is obviously everyone's favorite part of the fall, right? Is garden cleanup and trying to time that right with the weather out there. So I know trying to think of when their AmeriCorps wraps up her service term, but again, some great, even outside of school activities going on through Franklin County Extension. And the other one, and it's outside of our technical North Iowa area, they're over closer to Fort Dodge, but Gilmore City Bradgate Farm to School program is a really great example. I was hoping that we could get Kelsey on today, but she is awesome. She is actually a hired seed to school coordinator for the district. So they've been doing all sorts of great stuff. She talked about they've raised over 2 tons of pumpkins, harvested several pounds of produce. They didn't like the drought. They have lots of honeybees, so they have a really great pollinator program as far as their honeybees and the kids really being involved in the extraction of the honey and getting gallon buckets of honey, which is really cool. And then, so I guess this weekend they're selling their pumpkins and melons and honey at a locally grown showcase in their area. And they have a market starting. They have a current grant to be able to do a mural as well as some taste tests and some farmer visits into their school as well. And we'll be getting a biodome from Des Moines yet this fall. So another great example of a school district that's doing some really cool stuff. But again, testament to what you can do when you have specific a specific person coordinator really working on those garden efforts. So I thank them for sending in, and I'm sad that they weren't able to join us, but yeah,
I have a Jeff fun fact about some stuff that they do over there. They do a tractor to school day at the high school, and oh yeah, it's crazy. The whole town is just full of tractors, and it's just pretty cool. I think they do it during homecoming week.
So it's community members that bring their tractors in? Is it like a touch a tractor type of thing, or is it like, what is?
No, the students drive their tractors to school like one of the days. I think it's in homecoming week or something. Yeah, they all bring tractors. It's nuts, but they all have a lot of fun doing it. So.
And the difference in rural versus, more urban school districts is right there. That's hilarious.
And they have a really, really nice egg building. That's a whole separate building next to the high school that they do their 4-H and egg stuff, classes and stuff in.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a really great group field trip, going down and check out what they're doing. Not that there's aren't amazing other schools, we have some great schools as well that we should do a full tour of all of them. But yeah, that's cool. Thank you. Are there other programs or highlights of specifically farm to school wise that you guys know about that you would want to share? Dennis, I know I look at you sometimes, you got some cool stuff going on with youth, but no pressure. Or Jody, I don't know if you want to share anything.
Ours has kind of been more of a partnership with the schools. We have about 40 kids. The last 12 years in a row, we've had about 40 kids each year plant a garden at our fairgrounds here. And then the produce kind of gets end up dispersed out to the community primarily, but then the kids too, that plant the garden, obviously their families can benefit from it. But we have a lot of people benefit from the garden. This year, the garden was quite successful, a lot of produce there. We've had people take big advantage of it. We just put signs up to say, help yourself. And that's kind of what's happened. And it's staying pretty free of anything that's not spoiling. We had we planted 21 garden plots. So it's a pretty large garden. And it looks like it's really went well this year. Even though we didn't have the rain, we had people watering it nonstop. And so it turned out quite successful.
Great to hear. I know the weather was pretty rough this year for a lot of gardens, so I'm glad that you survived all right. Jody, I see you.
Yeah, so I'm working with 3 districts on a farm to school grant, and we're excited that we're actually going to try a in-person field trip with some middle school students. So that's pretty exciting that wasn't able to happen last year, and for different reasons the year before. So it's not been happening for a couple of years. So we're excited about that. One of the things that we're trying to do in those districts is expand the farm to school reach and efforts beyond just that food service director. So we're trying to combine wellness efforts with the wellness committee and the farm to school committees and strengthen that relationship throughout the district. So it was a slower process last year than we would have liked. Everybody was, very overwhelmed with lots of COVID stuff. So we are still working through that, trying to have like 3 wellness meetings a year, which is not, some districts do that, some districts don't, but the districts that I'm working with have not had regular wellness meetings. They've just updated their wellness policies. So working on those combined efforts together.
That's hard, important work, right? We can all appreciate how changing policy in the workplace or schools or anywhere is extremely difficult at times, unless you got a good team behind it. So it's great. Where's your field trip to? I'm sorry, did you mention? I'm excited to hear.
No, we are gonna try 2 farms. One is New Day Dairy, and then Whistling Thistle Farm in Shell Rock. And so they do vegetables. So fruits and vegetables, I should say. So.
Very cool. That's on the bucket list for a couple of schools we're talking to, as far as like being able to get out and go on the farm. We've definitely tried some of those farmer videos, bringing farmers into the classroom, even like from the farm, bringing an iPad around type of thing, or just even a video of what they're doing. But getting to be there is so much better, right? It's so much different. So that's really great. Really great.
Hey Marie, I don't know if you know much about what Hampton Dumont is doing. I just looked up as a community member down there. I see a lot that Jane is doing, but one of them that I don't feel like anybody's really talked about is the beef and using purple ribbon beef. I know they did it last spring. I don't know if they've done it yet this fall. Partnering with them and doing like burgers for all the students with that. So.
Yes, thank you for reminding me about that. Yeah, so we did partner with Hampton Dumont, and we have been. The Purple Ribbon Beef Burgers was a great day, as you say. In the spring, it was just at the high school, but we were able to bring in that local beef, and we also had Pete, who's one of the farmers from Purple Ribbon, go around and get to stop at each of the students' tables and ask them how they enjoyed their burgers. So as you can imagine, those high school students were definitely overwhelmed almost with the farmer at their table for their lunch period. But it was fun to have him. It definitely was a great experience for both the students and for Pete as well. And this fall, we're not necessarily serving Purple Ribbon on the line, but Hampton Dumont has an amazing culinary program through ProStart, and the ProStart culinary students are going to be using Purple Ribbon beef in their classroom. They're going to be able to get some brisket and work with that and get to experience that in the classroom. So that's kind of a treat for them for some of the work that they've been involved in. So yes, I know their food service director is great. Was new last year as well. Sarah, she just had a baby, so we haven't been doing a ton of sourcing in the cafeteria, unfortunately. But with all waves of excitement, right? Different things to focus on. So, and I'm sure we'll be doing some good stuff again next spring when she's back into the office for sure. But yeah, trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, again, those grants last fall too did a lot of great purchasing. I know lots of different districts had those cherry tomatoes and potatoes and apples and broccoli and all sorts of carrots that Julie mentioned, the ginormous carrots from Ron. So hopefully we'll be able to see some of that. Yes. it's always exciting when community members assist us. I think the other thing that's going on in Farm to School is that Iowa Local Food Day is coming up in early October. So Julie or Brenda, I know you guys, if you're still on with us, I don't know if either of you have anything planned that you'd like to share for Iowa Local Food Day. I know we have several districts in the area that are participating, but if you wanted to share some of your plans.
Yeah, we're going to do Local Food Day. We're not going to do it on the typical day. We're going to October 7th. I've talked to the Mirror Reporter, haven't heard back for sure, but I'm hoping to get her or someone in here to cover that for us. I've got a hold of, oh Lord, Andrea, and we're going to do broccoli, cauliflower, some peppers, apples, some of the different colored cherry tomatoes. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that.
We're gonna do a baked potato bar with as much local stuff on the toppings that we can find and throw on there. So that always works out well.
Kittleson's potatoes.
Wait.
Kittleson's potatoes.
Yep, of course.
Right down the road.
Get them and yeah, it works really
Yes, love it. I love it. Yeah, I should have mentioned. So Iowa Local Food Day is a day, or really within a week, kind of a statewide effort to support our schools who are doing local. And the minimum requirement is to source at least 2 local ingredients, and it can be breakfast, lunch, again, salad bar, but 2 local ingredients. That doesn't include milk, because a lot of people get A&E milk, which is produced here in Iowa. So that sounds like you both have great plans as far as going over the 2, but that's great. Baked potato bar sounds so good right now too.
Yeah, it's gotten big.
Yes,
I enjoy it.
beautiful tomatoes. Fantastic. Well, I know we'll try to share when we see or when we hear of other districts who are working on it. I know there is a map. I can also put that in the chat as far as Iowa Local Food Day and the different districts that are participating. We have several counties here in North Iowa that are participating, so I'll have to figure out who those districts are. Sometimes they sign up and don't tell us. So. But that is great. Pull that up. What other fun tidbits y'all have as far as Farm to School or things you got going on, or questions anybody else has? For these guys as far as what's going on, or information you want to know about Farm to School. All right. Well, I was just looking up that website. I just put the Iowa Local Food Day up. Thank you, Mallory. I didn't see that. Thanks for putting it in the chat. So yeah, if you want to check that out, and again, see the map of all the schools across Iowa that are participating. And there's some cool stuff on that website too, as far as different menu ideas or resources for schools as far as what's going on. They've been trying to build that up over recent years. So it also, I know all these different stories that we collect from the schools and from different farms that participate in Farm to School programming as well. It really helps at the state level, trying to help the lobbying organizations try to get different supports and whatnot throughout the state. So there has been some great coordinated efforts, and we're excited to see where those go in the future for sure. But we're lucky for what we got here. Awesome. Well, thanks for being on and sharing, Brenda and Julie. We appreciate it. Not seeing Jill jump on, so unfortunately won't hear from her, but keep up the great work. All right. So besides farm to school, this is my time to call out to you guys as far as, we have historically had multiple different project teams. So we have our community gardens effort from farm to school, which we talked about, farmers markets, food waste, and a food hub team at times, aggregation. But I know it's been a crazy year and our coalition has kind of morphed and changed and participation has kind of morphed and changed. So I actually wanted to know if I could open up to you guys and see, well, first of all, what updates do you have for the coalition from what you're seeing in your seats, and what you guys want to see in the future? We kind of worked out through this schedule to have this one, and we do have a December meeting coming up, but wanted to make it really truly a coalition and see what you guys are thinking and feeling and desiring. So open-ended questions are always really good on the multi-person Zooms, but be fearless and share what you're thinking.
I'll go ahead and share something. I don't know if all you are feeling better about being at outdoor events, but Sunday was really great. So maybe going into next year, hopefully we'll be able to do more of that. And it's great because we all bring our unique, skills and expertise into those engaging events. And so it just works really well to get to know each other as well as to, get engaged into the community. So I'm hoping next year we can get back to the way it was before COVID and we can get back to planning some events together. Would be great.
Yeah, at the very least, doing some of those in person, like we did a couple of field days and some of those visits at Central Gardens and other farms in the area. Yeah, definitely. Other thoughts? I got some wind going on. Being quiet on me today. How about, well, in that aim, I suppose, is there feedback? Those of you who are on, I assume Zoom works okay for you. I know we've had different partners that maybe haven't been able to join us or whatnot, and I know engagement can be challenging in Zoom. So I don't know. Thoughts, feelings about the Zoom format, at least like every other or something like that.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, we'll try.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, I'm glad I don't think my volume's working very well, but I definitely do miss in-person stuff. Perhaps like the project teams could meet more regularly on Zoom. And since we do this quarterly, it might be nice to go back in person, especially that, where we were doing it is kind of a larger space too.
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
Yeah, the landfill is like a nice, I mean, historically we've met at the landfill in Clear Lake. That's a pretty wide open room and pretty central. And yeah. We could sure look at going in person. I mean, all always depending, but even looking to come together in December. Typically, I'm gonna regret ever saying this out loud, but typically the weather holds out in December. So I always get a little nervous with winter in-person meetings in general, but I feel like we could probably pull that one off. Yeah. Sue did put in the chat. Maybe we could plan the brewery event that we were gonna meet at the brewery. We were gonna meet and then have some cool social time at a brewery. But right before COVID happened, and then that plan kind of went out the window. So we could definitely do some cool stuff. Sue would love to educate us about the food value chain, particularly around the breweries. I will do a plug on that. Sue, I was thinking of you. We did a farm to fork dinner last week, and the brewery in town made spent grain bread. And it's like the biggest hit. And people are like, why don't you sell this? Like, this should be on your menu. You should just like sell it out the door in bulk. And so thought of
Yeah,
you.
that was a big hit at the farmers markets here too with brewery bread. So that must be going around or something, but yeah, super cool.
A great use of resources, right? And it does have great flavor, obviously, depending on the recipe, but this was, they did a local honey butter too with it and paired that, and it was like amazing. So yes, we could certainly make some good snacks for that visit. I mean, sure, we could pull together a brewery meeting in December. I'm sure, sometimes it's alienating to some people too, but if I'm seeing smiles and like thumbs up right now, we could totally go that route. I love it. Well, that at least gives me something to go on for December. Appreciate it. What other updates do y'all have as far as local food happenings in your organizations, in your areas that you'd want to share or even get feedback on or ideas on? Do you have anything?
I will share with everybody that ReFed has committed to doing their annual convention in Minneapolis, May 10th through 12th. So I don't know if any of you have ever had a chance to go to their conventions, but they're fabulous. So definitely, as it gets closer, we'll have you guys send the link out. But Net Zero is sponsoring a tour on the 10th in the afternoon for their convention. And so that should be a lot of fun. I mean, they do so much good work with all different types of folks along the food supply chain. And I know Kroger, Zero Hunger, Zero Waste will be there too, doing a lot of fun things. So keep that on your calendar.
Yes. Sue, can you explain ReFed?
So ReFed is really the organization that all the food banks are tied to. They're a nonprofit, but they are, a national organization that just really taps everybody into that concept of distributing food. So if you ever, and they do great work on like the value chain, like, what you should do differently from a sustainable perspective and environmental and circularity. And it's just so immense around the food supply chain that you really can't go wrong. Whatever you need, you can go to ReFed and you'll find it. So definitely we'll start looking at resources if you guys want to know about, like, say, your menu and you want to know how sustainable it is. There's tools on there called the Insight Engine, and you can go look on how you can source different things that might be better sustainability perspective. They're just, I feel like everything that happens in my world ends up back at ReFed. So just go to ReFed.
Yes, I did just put the summit link in the chat as well if people wanted to check that out. But I have to imagine that links over to the ReFed website as well. I can pull that out. Fun. So that'll be a May meeting, a field trip for everybody to go up and go check out Sue's tour in May. Love it. Mallory, oh, I wish you can try to share. Do you want to talk about the cooking classes?
Sure. So,
It's like echoey.
Very good.
You'll put it in the chat. Okay, cool. Mallory and Molly have been, or Molly's on. I don't know, you're driving. Maybe Molly wants to talk about it.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hi. So Mallory and I are doing a lifelong learning cooking with local food class at the NIAC campus in Mason City. And our first class was last Thursday. We've got 15 people there, and we're in the NIAC kitchen. And we're focusing on seasonal fall foods in Iowa. And last week we made, or 2 weeks ago, we made homemade applesauce and homemade black keys, and we also kind of brewed the leftover apple scraps into an apple tea. And this week we're gonna be making like a fall kale salad with roasted pumpkin seeds. And each time we're also trying to talk a little bit about maybe like in the first class we asked people what they want to learn about the most, and a lot of people said kale and winter squash. So we're gonna try to focus on those in the last two classes. And I think in this class or the one in 2 weeks, we're gonna try to address maybe some challenges people have with finding local food throughout the year. And we're also bringing a bunch of recipe cards, just trying to share, as many fall recipes that we can.
Interesting that kale was mentioned. And winter squash, there's so many different ones to focus on, but that's really cool. I also heard some feedback from the community about your apple tea was like a hit. Darshini was really excited. So good job. I know there are a couple field days I wanted to call out and see if anyone is in the area and interested. One is actually happening tomorrow on Wednesday over in Fenton. So our northwest corner friends. It's a hazelnut field day. So anyone's ever met Jeff Jensen from Trees for Forever, the Iowa Nut Growers Association, all the things, he grows hazelnuts in Fenton, and they have a test plot that they're going to be doing a tour of. So I'm gonna move myself a second. Siren go by, sorry. Sorry for everybody's ears. So I'm trying to find the information on that if you're interested in going to the nut field for the day. But the other one that's coming up on the 29th of September is down at Grandview Beef in Clarion. So they're a grass-fed beef company that does quite a bit of business here in North Iowa. They attend the Clear Lake Farmers Market, even more locally, but Amanda and Newt down there are going to be doing a field day in partnership with PFI. So that'll be on September 29th. So I will try to find that link and put it in the chat too if people are interested. But still some great opportunities to get out on the farm and learn about what our farmers are doing out there. Dennis, didn't you have a field day in August? How'd that go?
Yeah, we did. And that was a field day mostly focused on trees and kind of plants and perennials and flowers. And we had two different Iowa State University people come in. One of the guys spent a lot of time on pruning of trees. The other person spent a lot of time on pest management. And it was kind of pest management in regards to gardens, vegetables, gardens for sure. We spent a lot of time in the garden there talking about all the different fruit insect problems that could be out there, fruit and vegetable insects. And then he also spent time with the flower gardens and hosta beds and you name it. Pretty entertaining, but really quite informational. Both guys were staff members from campus. Donald Lewis, who's Mr. Entomology Pro from 40 years of being an entomologist at Iowa State University. So he did a fantastic job. Then we had a fairly new staff member that did the pruning part of it and also tree forestry management side of it too. So yeah, about 100 people showed up. So good turnout. We're really happy about that. We've used our fairgrounds kind of as an outdoor classroom up here. It's become a place that it's kind of a go-to place for people to kind of come and relax and enjoy just being outdoors because we have a mile-long walking trail. We have a gazebo, a waterfall, about 8 statues, I guess we have here that you can look at when you're on your walk and flower gardens. There's probably about 3 different places. We have major, large flower gardens and a lot of trees been planted. So we have a good variety of trees. So it's like a little arboretum up here too, from that standpoint. So yeah, the August 5th field day was quite good. We were really super happy. It was good.
That sounds great.
Yeah. We've done about 5 field days like that now, and I think that was the lowest attendance we ever had, was 100 people. So the other ones we've had as high as 200. So we've had good response that way. And we've done some of them, most of them have been at the fairgrounds lately. We've done 3 now. The last 3 were at the Worth County Fairgrounds here. But then we did 2 other ones at a person's residence, kind of a place that was kind of a special one that everybody kind of knew about, that had lots and lots of flower beds and a lot of just ornamental plantings that around their place. Not as much as vegetables at that site. Our place here with our 21 vegetable garden plots, that ends up being a good starting point for us to talk about all the vegetables we got planted and tell a little bit about what our school program has been with the teachers at school, the cooperation we've had there, and how the students have benefited by planting a garden, maintaining it, and just kind of learning a lot through the summer. Plus those kids that we have in that garden project actually have their garden judged at our Worth County Fair. So during the fair, we'll have a judge, one of our master gardeners, come out, ask the kids questions, evaluate the garden, kind of, just kind of try to get a good feel for how much the kids have learned. And then they give them a ribbon, just like they would if they were doing any other project in 4-H. So that's been a good learning thing as well. Very educational for those kids to be part of that too. So yeah, the fairgrounds, like I said, has become kind of a wide variety of learning opportunities here. So yeah.
We've talked about doing one of our meetings and field trip up to you guys. We need to go do that. We've heard so many great things about your garden and all the programming you have there.
The flower beds have become really something. We spent quite a bit of time on trying to make sure we could get the weed control figured out. So right now we're doing no weed problems at all. These flower beds are pretty large. I mean, I don't know how many plants there are, but well, for example, our one flower garden bed, that's our largest one, we have 500 bags of mulch we put in that garden. So it's a pretty large flower garden when you have 500 bags of mulch in there. So that's pretty impressive right there. And then we have another hosta bed that probably has another 100 or 200 bags of mulch in that hosta bed as well. And but what we've done too is we used a lot of landscape fabric, and that's really helped keep the weeds in check. And that's been a real positive thing. And then we've used some real coarse mulch so it doesn't become soil. And so that's really helped us. We actually reestablished some of these gardens back in 2016, 17. And the one largest garden we reestablished in 2018. And it's a huge garden, and we for flowers, primarily perennials. And we have done very, very little gardening, weeding, I should say. I mean, we probably, I don't know, if we pulled 10 weeds in 3 years, that's been about it. And it's just amazingly good as far as maintenance and low maintenance for our people that had needed to take care of it. And so pretty impressive on a field day like we had to look at a garden like that. And I think there's a lot of learning that goes on as far as how to do some of this work up here.
Wow. Sounds like we could all use a lesson in weed management. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really been pretty impressive. We didn't know going into it if it'd be that good or not. And we ended up getting some high quality landscape fabric out of a nursery up in Owatonna, Minnesota, Turtle Creek Nursery. They told us that it would be a landscape fabric that would let water and nutrients flow into the garden, but at the same time, weed control would be, just really not a problem. And then everything they told us has turned out just like we hoped. And so we're pretty happy. We're quite pleased that we've just been able to we have minimal amount of time trying to maintain the gardens like that. So yeah, and lots of plants here. In fact, the whole trails kind of got plants and really, like I said, wide variety of trees as well. So that's been kind of interesting too. And some of our people already take advantage of coming up and looking at the tree varieties, especially now that we have the emerald ash borer coming after the ash trees. Everybody's looking for what tree do I plant then to replace my ash trees. And this is a good place to go take a look at what type of trees you might want to put in. And we did spend a lot of time, by the way, on that field day, that we had there, Marie. We spent quite a bit of time talking about emerald ash borer and the treatment of it and identification of it, and you name it. A lot of people got updated on emerald ash borer for sure.
I bet. That sounds great.
Amanda, I know you're driving, but I'm intrigued to hear if you guys have any updates from your program going on.
We did get some more money for groceries and stuff. So our food pantry's looking pretty good.
Nice.
And hygiene and stuff like that. Our HUD grant, the one that is the long-term supportive housing through HUD, they're trying to open that up to anybody, and so it's not going to be just veterans anymore, which is really exciting. So it'd be chronically homeless with a disability for long-term supportive housing. And then otherwise, the SSVF, we're just working away. I guess a lot of people probably don't know that we opened a satellite office in Sioux City. So we've got another employee new hired over there, which has been great. Keeps me from having to drive so far.
Very nice.
Are you hearing me okay? Okay. I think that's about it right now. We have a mural that we're working on that's about underage drinking that we're going to be putting up. And gosh, that's about it. Everything else pretty much the same. Do you guys have any about our program at all?
I was gonna say, sounds like we need to partner more on food stuff.
Yeah. So
food
we
pantry
have,
mentioned. And
I don't know if you guys know Mitchell's in Leland, that restaurant. They donated some vegetables and stuff for our veterans that they had excess in their garden that they weren't going to get to use before they went bad. But yeah, we would love to get some fresh stuff for everybody. We've been volunteering at the farmers market in Forest City, which has been really nice. I think this week or next week's their last one. But they have a nice turnout. They moved it. It's not downtown anymore. They moved it down to Pamela Park, which is right where all the ball diamonds and stuff are there. So there's a lot more room for vendors and better parking.
Location of farmers markets always matters so much more than you ever think it will. So we've learned that from our markets.
Yeah, well, in the fall, when all the students come back, it's hard to find anywhere to park anyways. And then with the campus right there downtown. So yeah, I think that was a big part of why they decided to move it down to the bottom of the hill, they call it. But yeah, I can't think of anything else unless anybody has questions about our programs.
Oh, sounds great. You did remind me that farmers market seasons will be wrapping up here. I think most of them wrap up by mid-October in the area. So you said next week. Yeah, some of them wrap up late September or mid-October. So get the good products while you can, right? More easily accessible, I should say. But
one thing I remember from eons ago when I had WIC with my kids, I remember they did farmers market cash and cookbooks. I don't know if they still do that, but I've always thought that was really cool project.
Yeah, I don't think there's a formal cookbook that's handed out anymore. We do different recipe demonstrations and things like that, and have been partnering with some different program distributions for some of those cards. But yeah, a formalized cookbook is definitely, especially being passed alongside those vouchers. I don't do that anymore. I guess no. Kelly, what's public health up to? in the food space, nutrition space, anything? Or all COVID?
I guess, well, Veggie Voucher program, I guess, is probably the one thing most tangible that we're working on. I did see an invoice come in from Hy-Vee at the end of the month, I think in August, and they had, I can't remember. It was quite a significant number of, I want to say like 85 or something, but I could be wrong. Vouchers that came in from one of the Hy-Vees for the month. Otherwise, other areas, we have a new division at the health department that I'm a part of called population health. So we're kind of veering away from traditional public health services and going to start to try to approach things from more of a population health lens, which basically means us taking a larger role in coalitions like this and not necessarily always being the doers, but helping be the conveners and the facilitators so that other organizations can help us move the needle on health issues on a population scale, and not necessarily just by doing health screenings and small things like that, but really looking at upstream factors like housing and education and transportation and food security, that kind of stuff. So yeah, so we'll be hopefully out in the community much more, have a bigger presence and collaborations with chambers and schools and municipalities and everybody, I guess. So this coalition being one of them. So hopefully we can get a little bit more actively involved.
Yes, we welcome that. I love help with convening. Yeah, that's great. Exciting to see. Cool. Well, I know some people have had to jump off. So, are there other updates or? Cool. Well, we've heard some really great updates today. Thank you all for hopping on and joining us. So enjoy. Anyone who's interested in helping me plan that December meeting at the brewery, let me know. I would love to get some. Thank you for the feedback on that, and I'm excited about that. And yes, Sue, thanks, Santa. I will definitely reach out to you. And yeah, let me know if there's other things that go on. I know we need to move some more projects along as a group. So that'll be a good time to come together. And I know it's the summer meetings are so hard to get everybody in the same place and on the same page and ready to take on more work. So we'll hold that off for December. But it was great to hear all the updates and see the friendly faces that we missed so much. So thank you, thank you. Yay. Lots of things coming in the chat too, so thank you all. Appreciate that. And thank you to our presenters today as well. We appreciate everything our schools are doing to really move that needle for local sourcing. So thank you. And we'll see you in December.
See you, everybody. Take care.
Bye.